Alrighty guys, worst genetics for increasing muscle tier list. Now you and I don't have the ability to change where our tricep tendon attaches or how long our clavicle bones are or choose where our lats insert. We never get the choice. No one is able to change this, but what we can control is the willpower to put in excruciating amounts of work to turn a genetic disadvantage into a physique strong point, which I will show you many examples of here as well. Now today we are going to be ranking the worst genetics on a tier list, starting at the top with insane nerf and going all the way down to you're good bro. Now before I get started, I do want to say I am also a victim of bad genetics, just like any regular Joe. Look at this. Look at these legs. High ass quad insertions. Look at that. Insane. Look at my forearms. I've got the skinniest ass forearms you've ever seen. Now, no one is ever faultless, and there is perfection within imperfection. So before you watch this video, make sure you grow some thick skin, and if you ever get triggered at any stage of this video, I want you to redirect that into mental drive to better yourself. But anyway, without any further ado, let's just jump into the video. Alrighty, now first up we have is having bad chest insertion. So having in particular a chest gap between your chest. I'll show you a few good cases of this. Let's just actually pull some up. Now there is this guy, David J. This guy is a perfect example of someone with terrible chest insertions and having just a massive gap in their chest, but being able to absolutely capitalize, brutally work out his chest to the point where you don't even see it anymore. So early in his fitness it looks really bad, and then later on, and granted this guy's not natural, but let's just put that aside for a second, later on once he builds some really solid muscle, you cannot, it's literally a strong point on his physique. So he turned a genetic disadvantage into a physique advantage, which is just insane to think about. Like, you know, to be able to do that, it's impressive. Absolutely insane. This is another example of it. Basically, you can see where the tendons come into your chest, and there's just like a line through, and it looks like two separate muscles instead of like one sort of whole muscle. But look, there's been scenarios. The worst case of this that I've ever seen would have to be Terry Crews. Now, he's obviously born with bad chest genetics. His chest looks two completely different muscles. It looks like almost like two shoulder muscles rather than one whole pec muscle. So that is sort of worst case. Like in that shot, you know, that's tough. Like in that scenario, it's pretty bad. I think if you have a pretty minimal case of this, I don't think it's so bad for you, man. I reckon you could just really brutally train your chest to the point where you have a lot of muscle belly in your chest. If it's not a strong point, you just got to work harder. It's that simple. Having a chest gap, and I'm gonna rank it based on having it not like Terry Crews bad, but you got like some sort of gap in your chest. So I'm gonna put it up in work harder. You just gotta work harder. Growing your chest is just not gonna be as easy for you. Alrighty, so high lat insertions. I'll put an example of high versus low lat insertions. Basically what it is the lats insert into your lower back muscles a lot higher. So all the muscles are gonna be quite high on your up on your back rather than lower on your back. I'll just put just a straight up comparison of these two things. And I think you can quite obviously see that low lats just makes your back look bigger overall. I don't think there's anything quite wrong with high lat insertions though. I think one advantage of having high lat insertions is it can make your waist look thinner. But when you do that sort of front lat spread, you're not going to see the lats coming through as good as if you had low lat insertions, where you'll see those lats popping through behind you. But you know, it's not the worst thing in the world. I'll show some examples of people with high lat insertions. It doesn't look too bad, to be honest. It just means you have sort of more an upper sized back rather than a lower sized back. I think it can make you also appear taller, like makes your torso sort of look bigger if your lats are quite higher up. Like I don't think I personally notice it too much, so I'm just gonna put it up and get away with it. I don't think it's that bad. I think having low lats makes your back look bigger, but having high lats, you know, it's not the worst. Next up we have is having longer limbs. Having longer limbs it's unfortunate for aesthetics anyway. So what this means is your arm span or your leg span is longer for your frame than it should be. So if you're 5'9", you could have the arm span of someone who's 6'1". So for building muscle, this is not a good thing. Basically, you're gonna have to put on more muscle mass than usual to fill out your longer limbs. It's tough for gaining muscle, but longer limbs is great for combat sports, boxing, basketball, fighting, UFC fighting, having a longer reach is one of the best advantages you can have. If you have long limbs, brother, start boxing. The biggest advantage for any combat sport is having a longer reach than your opponent. So good examples of this: Anthony Joshua, Tommy Fury had really long arms. The best boxing advantage ever. But in terms of building muscle, having longer limbs, not the greatest thing. Makes you look a little bit like Slender Man. I'll put this video in, this guy doing push-ups and he's got the longest arms ever. It's not good for powerlifting either. With powerlifting like bench press, you're gonna have to move the bar further distance than someone with shorter arms. So it's gonna be harder for you if you have longer limbs. A good way to test this is you can either measure out with a tape measure your arm span, or if you stand up straight and without bending over, if you can scratch your knees, I'm pretty sure you have pretty long arms. Yeah, having longer limbs, I'm gonna put it up in work harder. It just means you gotta grow more muscle. Alrighty, next up we have is having no jawline. Now, if you want to learn how to de-bloat your face, improve your jawline, then click this link in my bio. No, I'm kidding. Don't. I got no link. Don't go to my description. There's no link to help you. That was a joke. What I do have a link to in my description of this video is a link to a giveaway. So I'm doing my first ever giveaway. I'm giving away $100 worth of Gymshark or Young LA, or if you just want $100, you can also just have that too. Pretty much all you have to do is just follow my Instagram and my TikTok and subscribe and notifications, and then send me a DM on Instagram and I'll accept your DM as well, and then send me the screenshots of doing all those things, and I'm gonna put you into the giveaway. Now, I don't have a big following either, so there's only around 100 people in the giveaway right now, so you actually have a really good chance of winning. But back to the jawline. But that's the shit you see nowadays though. Like, everyone is trying to promote how to improve your bone growth and looks max and all this crap, dude. The best thing I can tell you, the best piece of advice is, honestly, get your diet on track. Stop eating junk food. Because that will make you retain more water in your face. Honestly, try and get a little bit leaner body fat. Like 10-11% body fat is where your jaw really comes out and your face really starts to have good structure and good definition. Having a jawline, losing the fat around your face, one of the best things you can do in terms of your appearance. Now, I'll show you the difference like 6 kilos makes for me when I was 86 kilos compared to right now where I'm about 80 kilos, maybe a little bit less. I'll show you the difference it makes in your face. Now, I don't have, like, you know, a terrible jawline. It's not so bad, especially when you lose the fat here around your cheeks. Now, you're consumed on a daily basis with all these videos about how to de-bloat your face and do all these different techniques to improve your face and, like, grow your face bones, and doing, like, chin tucks and towel pulls and thumb pulling, or, like, all this crap. You guys are being consumed by absolute garbage. It's so funny. Don't listen to a lot of these guys. They're trying to get you to pay for a subscription and make money off you. It's just that simple. If these guys tell you to jump off a cliff, don't say how high. Just know what you're looking at. Just use a bit of common sense, you know what I mean? But anyway, in terms of jaw genetics, you can be born with, you know, not so good jawline compared to being born with a really good jawline. Now, I'll show you what being born with an insane jawline and having crazy jaw muscles looks like. Although this guy is one side of the spectrum, right? He looks like he's eaten a bicycle seat or something. That looks insane. That doesn't even look good at that. Look at that. That's just crazy. That's what a really wide jaw looks like, and, you know, having quite a large jawline. What you want is sort of like a happy medium. You don't want this. Your jaw's almost non-existent. It's just connected to your neck. It looks like that turtle character off that movie. The best thing you can do in this situation is, yeah, just try and lose the fat around your face to the point where you have some sort of line. This guy might not be, you know, as lean as he could be. You know, best thing you can do, eat less junk food, less things that are gonna make your face hold more water and look puffy and just bloated and things like that. That is like 80% diet, and then also just get a little bit leaner. Get down to like 11-10% body fat. That's sort of the range where your jaw really comes in. Having bad jaw genetics, I think everyone can improve this. Literally everyone can improve this to an extent. Bad jawline compared to a good jawline without even trying It's an insane nerf. I think the appearance of your face makes, you know, a big difference to everything. How people look at you, everything. Attractiveness. If you look like you go to the gym, if you're quite chiseled, you know, that shows within your face. So I'm going to put it there. Alrighty, next up we have is having long tricep tendons. So what long tricep tendons is, and I'll put a really good example of this. Basically, the short head of your tricep. So you got the short head, the long head. Basically, the short head comes really far up your arm, or for some people up to here. This tendon is really long. So Sam Sulek has a little bit of a case of this, but you know what he did? Capitalize more on training his triceps. Put like double to triple the volume on his triceps compared to a muscle group that he doesn't find any effort in training at all. That just grows like nothing.
Quads, yet 25% went to his triceps. 1/4 of Sam's total training is triceps training.
That's the same thing as what you need to do. If you have a long tendon on your tricep, you just got to train it harder. It doesn't look good aesthetically. Like having a big full tricep head looks great, amazing. Makes your arm look bigger. You know, everyone knows the tricep takes up 70% of your arm, so a little bit more than your bicep. So having big triceps just makes your arm look bigger in general. Having a long tendon just means you got to work it harder. So I'm going to put up in, you just got to work harder. Next up we have is having small forearms. Now, being born with small forearms, I don't think is the most terrible thing you can have happen to you. Now, I don't have the craziest forearms. I don't have the craziest forearms either. So, like, I don't really train them though either. But I think what it does, it makes you look like you have an insane sleeper build.
Down smoking wine and drinking hazel.
I'm gonna try and make a recreation myself. How wearing baggy clothes and an oversized jumper or oversized shirt can make you look like you have the most insane sleeper build. Now, I'll put some examples, but there's this really famous one of like this elevator cam. And this guy looks like the scrawniest dude ever. And then he lifts up his shirt and he's got the craziest sleeper build you've ever seen. It gives you that sort of wow, like, holy fuck, like, you know, sort of look. I'll show the other side of the spectrum of what it's like to be born with really good forearms. So this guy, he looks like he's got some genetic mutation, looks a bit like Popeye, but insane forearms, and then everything else is sort of average on his physique. So Ramon Dino is a good example of someone with really dominant forearm genetics. He looks amazing as well. Like his forearms look quite large, almost bigger than what his biceps and triceps look. But having small forearms, it's not terrible either. So Sam Sulek preaches on training forearms. You should be adding it into your routine, but I do some hammer curls here and there. That's about it. I think when you just have like decently shredded forearms, I think that's a good enough look for me. So I'm gonna put it in "you're good, bro." All right, next up we have is having short clavicles. Narrow clavicles is not easy to be born with. There can be cases of really bad narrow clavicles or short clavicle bones, and then cases of not so bad, and then you have short clavicles but then genetic advantages with your shoulder so you can mask it, or a thin waist. There are some scenarios, like obviously I'll show you an example of someone who has a crazy wide V taper and then someone who has narrow clavicles and it's the complete opposite. Their shoulders come in like that. Having short clavicles, I'm going to put up in a scenario where you have short clavicles but then you got ways to be able to mask it. I'm going to put it in not the best. I'm going to say, you know, grow your shoulders, best thing you can try and do. Dial in those lateral raises, get that military and shoulder press volume up, and capitalize on growing those shoulders as much as you can. That's the best thing you can do. Righty, next up we have is having a wide rib cage. Now, I'll show you what a wide rib cage is, but this is something that has sort of come to light a bit with, you know, genetic disadvantages. Having a wide rib cage is actually good for wrestling, I believe. I think it's just harder to manipulate your body as an opponent when you have a wide rib cage. For aesthetics, looks like you got a blocky waist, in my opinion. But at the same time, I'll show you a video of like sort of an example. The best way you can tell if you have a wide rib cage is when you do a vacuum. You can just see where those ribs come out. They flare out sort of thing. I don't think this is something someone really points out. This is different to having a blocky waist, I will say. Flared rib cage, I'm gonna put in, it's either get away with it or you're good, bro. I'm gonna put in you're good, bro. There's close to nothing wrong with this. But anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Make sure you leave a like on the video. Let me know if you think I ranked these pretty fairly. Don't roast me in the comments, though. This is just my humble opinion. You can have a different opinion. That is totally okay. If you want to join the giveaway, make sure you subscribe with notifications, follow my socials, and send me a DM on Instagram after I accept your DMs. And thanks so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.